And welcome back to the show, everybody. Excited about today's show because our guest is great, Nick Clinard, the head coach of the Auburn men's golf team. But first things first, we're on the road, and we're at TPC Sawgrass, the brand new Palace PGA Tour Productions, and we're doing PGA Tour Live this week on ESPN Plus. And I hope you dial us in. There's 4 streams every week on the PGA Tour, and you can get up close and personal to the best players in the world and their conversations with their caddies. Sometimes they talk to themselves, and just like you and I, they face tough lies here and there in the rough, behind trees, crazy stuff. So it's really compelling stuff if you love golf like I do. So check us out, PGA Tour Live on ESPN+. All right, Nick Clinard has been the head coach at Auburn for 16 years and involved with college golf for a long time. Not to put an age on you, Coach, but you've been doing it a long time. Last year was arguably one of the greatest seasons in the history of men's college golf, and it resulted in the first national championship at Auburn. The Auburn men's team won 10 tournaments, which is crazy, double-digit tournament wins. They won 7 in a row to end the year, winning the Southeastern Conference Championship, which is a feat in itself, and then ultimately the national championship, and Nick joins us now. Coach, I mean, are you still riding on Cloud 9? I know the new season tees off here in a few weeks, but are you still riding Cloud 9 after just an incredible year?
Well, War Eagle Doug, appreciate you having me on. It was incredible. Obviously, you look back on it. I think, in our business as coaches, we kind of move on. I mean, in recruiting, and it just never, ever stops. But, looking back on it, to win 10 times out of 13 tournaments and, have a 46-1-1 record in the SEC.
Crazy.
I mean, you have to pinch with all these great coaches and all these great players. But, our guys were just so connected, and, they had an incredible culture in that locker room. They played so hard for each other. They played so hard for the brand. And we were just, lucky enough. We got on a roll. We had a lot of confidence, and we played some great golf. And it ended up, like you said, with the, SEC and a championship and a regional championship and a national championship.
And now, again, you tee off. I think you're back out in Hawaii and Maui in a couple of weeks. Coach, with all the crazy cold weather we have, that's a pretty nice place to start the season again.
It is, and we're looking forward to get back on the Big Island and out there and getting some 80-degree weather. And we tried to get down in Florida last week to practice some, and we got stuck down there. We couldn't get home because of the weather back home, but and it wasn't very warm down there either. So it's been a kind of a polar vortex, it seems like, across the country.
I love that polar vortex. For those of us in the South, we're finally experiencing that. All right, Coach, you mentioned you're down in South Florida. Great picture of you guys on social media at the TGL, the indoor facility there, SoFi Stadium, if whatever they're calling it, down at Palm Beach Gardens. It's the Tiger Rory Indoor League. It's on ESPN. Monday, Tuesday nights, and I'm looking forward to next week when actually Tiger and Rory's team will go against each other. Rory represents the Boston Common. That's the name of his team. Tiger's the Jupiter Lynx. Of course, he lives down there. Coach, your team was there, indoors. These guys are smacking it up against a wall on a simulator. Of course, they're trying to attract that young demo, and I think all your guys fit into that young demo. What was the feeling of the team? What did you think about what you saw in person?
I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty neat to see it in person. I mean, the facility is phenomenal at SoFi Stadium or whatever, like you said, whatever they call it. You can yell, you can scream, you can kind of heckle them a little bit. It's just different for golf, and I really think the players really enjoyed it. They looked like they were having a fun time and really kind of engaging the crowd and entertaining the crowd. And our guys liked it. I mean, I think they obviously dream about being out there one day themselves. But it was neat to see the green kind of rotate, and they changed the whole locations. It was quite an experience. I'd definitely go back. I'd go back.
Well, I mean, that's it. The jury is out. We're now 3 weeks in, and it's mostly positive. I know the ratings were a little down last week. Of course, Tiger played the previous week. Whenever he plays, the ratings are going to be up. But, I mean, Coach, is this the future? I mean, they are trying to attract a younger audience. You're into the golf business like I am. I want it to get younger. Because golf, predominantly the fans are in the older realm. But I think this is good. I think we need to let it play out because a lot of people are saying, well, this isn't going to last. I mean, we're only 3 weeks into a brand new project. I think it's good for the game to try things like this.
I think it's good for the game, too. I think anything you can do to attract a younger audience and get the youth and the kids involved and get them loving the game and wanting to get outside and play and compete. And I think sport is great for young people, and I think it could, hopefully help. I think, like you said, we're 3 weeks in. Let's see over 2 years. Let's see what transpires, and you got some big names playing, and as long as the players are bought in, I think the fans will be too.
Yeah, it's always good to see Tiger, too. We don't get to see him much, but it'll be good to see him back. All right, that brings us to, you have a lot of great players. Jackson Koiven is I think the number one ranked amateur in the world, maybe one or two with Luke Clanton. They're both playing in the Farmers Insurance Open. Of course, Jackson could not be with you guys at TGL. He's playing in a little PGA Tour event. Coach, you've seen it all over the years, and what I'm seeing now is really an amazing phenomenon. These college guys, they used to not be ready to go right out into the PGA Tour. But I think what we're seeing is, these young guys, they're getting tournament ready, not only in the junior scene, but the college scene especially. And when I see Jackson Koiven go out and shoot 3 under bogey free on the South Course, I'm not surprised. Luke Clanton played great last summer. Nick Dunlap, a guy you know well from University of Alabama, or formerly from Alabama, won as an amateur last season, changed his life around. Coach, what's going on here with these players? Why are they more ready now than ever?
Well, I think a couple things. I think one, they're fearless. They're not afraid of the big moment. They want to compete in front of people. The more people watching, the merrier. Obviously they're very talented. Look what Dunlap and Clanton have done.
Huh.
It's phenomenal, and I think it's great for the game. It gets, like you said, it gets young people watching and involved and dreaming. There's nothing wrong with us as humans to be dreaming, and I think college golf has arguably the best golf facilities worldwide. You go look at our facility, or you go look at Alabama's new facility, or you go look at wherever, right? Especially in the SEC. All of them have incredible facilities, but we have all the TrackMan data, and we have the quads, and we have hitting bays, and we have incredible physio coaches. We have a nutritionist. We have physical therapy. We have massage therapy. So they're treated like tour players. I know that sounds crazy to the older generation, but even myself, but they're treated like tour players at a young age, and they're developing quicker and quicker and quicker, and they're stronger and they're faster. And, we know how to develop them. We know how to assess their bodies and screen them and try to get them ready for the long haul of playing on the tour. And I think it's been very beneficial for them.
Yeah, both of those young men, Jackson Koiven, again, 19 years old from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, one of the great players at Auburn right now. Luke Clanton, Florida State kid. Both of these young men, Coach, as you know, are on the verge of getting enough points to earn their PGA Tour card through PGA Tour University. They're right on the cusp. If they do it, they'll have that decision to make. But I'm amazed. Number one, I love the opportunity for these kids to get enough points because they're playing in big-time tournaments. But to jump right from college to the PGA Tour like Nick Dunlap, wow. I know they're more competitive now, Coach, and they're fearless, but that is still a big jump.
It is a big jump. I think it's a bigger jump than a lot of people realize mentally and emotionally. The PGA Tour you're traveling the PGA Tour week to week to week. You're going to go through some adversity. You're in a hotel room or a house, and you miss a couple cuts, and you have to be ready for that moment. You got to be ready for the lifestyle. It's not just the golf. It's the lifestyle of traveling as a pro and as a tour, and I think a lot of people see the private jets and all that, but the reality is it's not that way for the majority of the players.
Yeah, it's an adjustment. These are young men. 19, when Nick Dunlap won, he was 20, now 21. These are young guys, and their life is changing faster than they can possibly imagine. So it is a major adjustment. And, Coach, with that said, when you're going out and recruiting, you recruit the best players, not only in the United States, but, you have some kids that come over from other countries that have played for you. How important is NIL now to golfers? We hear it all the time when we're talking about football players and basketball players. How big is it in collegiate golf?
It's actually out there. It's pretty big. It's not obviously what you read about in maybe the football or basketball world, but it's definitely out there. I think with this, proposed new House versus NCAA settlement, NIL will be changing drastically for a sport like ours because it'll all be coming in-house and to be based on how much revenue you generate. And unfortunately, we don't generate a lot of revenue in college golf from a ticket sales standpoint. But I think it's out there, and I think it's just call it what you want to call it. Obviously the better players are making more money, and that's just the facts. And it doesn't matter what sport you're in. College golfers, I remember years ago when they would get the opportunity to play on the PGA Tour, they had a stand bag.
It would have their university name on the side. They would wear their college logo on their shirt. They look like college golfers. Now these guys come out and they have the professional bag with the logo of the various club deal. They have a logo on their hat. I mean, times have changed, Coach, right? I mean, and we've talked a lot in the last few minutes now about these guys being ready, but from a business standpoint, they're also getting ready, right?
You're right. You know, they all have agents.
Yes.
And the agents do a great job, you know, with their brand and their image. And I always tell our guys, listen, you're the CEO of your brand. Every decision you make is going to affect you, you know, good or bad. But, you know, they're ready. You know, they're ready. Like I said, they got great facilities. They got great coaching. They have access to everything that a tour player would have in college. And you know, they are able to get, you know, NIL through manufacturers or through companies and all the corporate dollars being sent their way. And it just gives them more opportunity to prepare and be comfortable when they get out there where they're not worried 100% about money when they're starting their professional golf career.
You know, we always talk about recruiting, at least a lot of my colleagues, football recruiting, basketball recruiting, and a certain young man or young lady has narrowed it down to 3 schools, 4 schools. Is it that competitive? I know when you're recruiting Jackson Coyven, a lot of people, including North Carolina, wanted to keep him home. How competitive is recruiting, Coach, when you go out and get the top amateur golfers in the world?
Recruiting is very competitive. There's so many great coaches and so many great programs that have, you know, access to everything. And it's ultimately about finding the right fit for the player. You know, what's the right fit academically, athletically, socially, spiritually? You know, what is the best for that young man? And then ultimately believe, like I've always believed, the right people come at the end of the day, and they're meant to be there. And but recruiting is, I mean, listen, I'll say this: one day when I'm retired, I will not miss recruiting. I'll put it that way.
Wow, and you've been doing it a long time.
I've been doing it a long time.
That's a heck of a statement. You know, you mentioned spiritually, and I'm glad you touched on that, because as I watched the college football playoffs, which lasted forever, by the way, I didn't think they were ever going to end, but as they interviewed, I mean, it was amazing, these young men who were the stars of the game, and they would interview them after the game, and before they would get into the nuances of what happened, they would always profess their Christian faith. And listen, I'm not talking politics on the show, but I'm seeing that more and more, Coach, not just football, but basketball players. Obviously, you're golf guys. I've read things where they've talked about it. What's going on with young people in collegiate sports now getting the opportunity to talk on a national level, and none of them are abashed about doing it? They go right to it before they talk about what happened on the field.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful for these young people to have faith and family be their priorities in their lives, and to openly talk about it. Like our guys on the team, they have a Bible study they do together. You know, it's not dictated by me, and I go when I can go, but they do it together as players, and it just gives them another avenue to lean on. And as I always tell my guys, God put everybody on this earth to be great, not to be average, and being average is a choice. You know, we all have choices as human beings, and I truly believe that God put us on this earth to be great.
Wow.
And I challenge them to be elite in their areas of their lives, every area of their life. But always lean on your faith and always lean on your family, because that's the most important thing in life.
Well, you know, as an older man, I'm getting older. I'm older than you are, Coach, and I have three great guys, 3 boys, and they're 25, 28, and 31, by the way. And it's refreshing to hear you describe what is going on in our country. I mean, it makes me feel totally enthused and reinvigorated in a lot of ways when I hear the young people in our sport. And we're coaches, in essence, athletes. I've been in the sports all my life. It's refreshing to me, Coach. I love it. I'm enthused.
Well, I am too. And listen, I always tell my guys we want to be elite, not good, not great, but, you know, elite in different areas of our lives. And one of them is spiritually. And it doesn't, you know, Doug, it doesn't mean you have to go to church. But what it means is you're going to be a good son and a good boyfriend and a good teammate, and you're put on this earth to serve, you know, and you're serving other people. And I just truly believe that. You're encouraging other people. You're inspiring other people. It's not all about you. And I think that's what's great about college golf, and that's what's great about sports. You know, you're in that team, and you're all in it together, because eventually, you know, and especially in our sport, right, you're going to play the PGA Tour, you'll play individual golf for the next 30, 35 plus years. But
right.
You get a guy like Jackson Coyven, like, he loves the team. He'd rather talk about the team than he would himself. And I think that's what ultimately makes him special.
Yeah, I think it is cool when you hear Jackson and Luke Clanton, who we've talked a lot about in the last 12, 15 minutes, but they want to come back and play with their team. And you're right, because these guys, once they leave college, even though there's TGL and obviously the Ryder Cup, President's Cup, but predominantly they'll be playing all by themselves for the rest of their careers.
That's right. And listen, there's no putting contest and up and down contest on tour, right? The guys aren't, hey, let's go, do a putting contest. In college, that's all they do. They just constantly compete together. They work out together. They eat together. It's the brotherhood. And what a fellowship of young men is something they're going to look back on when they're 35 or 40, and they're going to cherish those days. We always tell our guys, don't grow up too fast. Have fun, enjoy this. This is a short period of ride. Enjoy it, and then when adulthood comes and the real world comes, you'll be ready.
Yeah, Coach, slowing them down though, that's going to be hard nowadays. Man, it's hard to slow these guys down.
It is. There's no doubt about that.
Hey, I wanted to ask you about some of the guys though, former Auburn players, and I'm with them all the time in the PGA Tour. Jason Duffner, I know, lives in the Auburn area. Major champion. Maybe his career on the PGA Tour is winding down a little bit. He's still out here playing. Patton Kizzire, with the big win last fall, kind of reinvigorated his career, if you will. And then I interviewed Trace Crow last year, and I know he's getting it going. Blaine Barber, another guy, Dominic Bazzelli. I mean, all these guys, you're proud of them, I know, and they're all at different stages of their careers. How important is it to have that PGA Tour connection to a major college golf program?
Oh, I think it's huge. I mean, that's what I listen to all these even myself, when I was a kid, I look back on, that's your dream.
Right.
You're always out there by yourself. This putt's to win the Masters or win, get through tour school or whatever it is. But you dream of that. You work so hard for that moment, and that's why you see so many people so emotional when they get their tour cards, because they fulfilled their dream. And we do have some young guns. We have a lot of guys on the Korn Ferry Tour and guys on the PGA Tour, and just so proud of them. But I'm more proud of the human beings they are. I'm proud of, like Jason Duffner. I'm so proud of the ambassador he is for this university. What an incredible man, an incredible server, and what he does with this foundation. And that means more to me than whatever he's done on the golf course.
Yeah, I guess Duff still comes back and he still waggles a lot, but he can still play. He still plays with the young guys, right?
Oh, yeah, he can still play, and he's not afraid to chirp it up a little bit, too. So,
I mean, that's good,
he's
too.
He's a good friend, and he competes and practices out there all the time at our facility, and the guys really love playing with him. He can still play. I mean, he can get it around in town.
Yeah, well, he can still play out here. It's just a matter of, again, putting 4 good rounds together. And as you get older, it's tough to sustain that over a week, especially with all the competition. That's the thing, Coach. And listen, we've talked a lot about it in this conversation. These college guys have the opportunity to go right onto the PGA Tour, but they're going against the elite. And even though the golf ball and the equipment has kind of tightened things up, I mean, they're still going against the top, 1% on the planet when it comes to playing golf. I mean, these guys, I emphasize to people all the time, you don't know how good they are until you actually see them in person and watch them practice. I mean, these guys are elite.
You're right. I tell my guys on the team all the time, I said, you guys don't really realize how good those tour players are. I mean, it's the best. It'd be like the top 125 CEOs in the world, right?
Right.
So it's the best of the best, and they are, as you said, they're elite, and they're so good, and they find a way to score their golf ball, even when they have their C game. They just know how to play, and it's I used to travel out there a lot with Blaine Barber and Dominic Bazzelli, and it's just amazing how much I learned just watching other people, just observing and just seeing what they do. And I'm like, oh, that guy's going to struggle this week. And I turn on the scoreboard and he's 5 under through 7. They're just incredible at scoring their golf ball. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's a great sport. And I really love college golf as well. And I think it's getting more publicity, Coach. I remember last year watching you guys on Golf Channel, an exciting national championship. Listen, it's always going to be a niche sport. And it's, like you said, it's not going to make a lot of revenue, these humongous athletic departments, but it's important, and it has been for many, many years. As you know, you've been in this coaching business for, what, Coach, like 26 years?
Yeah, I'm in my 24th year right now.
24th,
so
wow.
I've been doing it a long time. I love it. I love developing young people. I love to coach. That's where my passion is, and I look forward to many more years ahead.
Yeah, well, Coach, we appreciate it. Good luck. Love going to Maui, and then I saw some other stops along the way. You guys kind of stick with that warm weather as you tee off in February, right?
Yeah, Las Vegas and
Yes.
down in South Florida and Myrtle Beach. And, yeah, we're kind of all over, but yeah, we're looking forward just to getting out there and competing. We want to see where we stack up and see if we can make another run at this thing.
Yeah, going back to back will be tough, Coach.
It will be tough. There's a lot of great players, a lot of great programs, but we're going to give it our best shot. We got some horses, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I know you do. Hey, we appreciate the time, Coach. Great to catch up with you. And again, a friend of mine who's a big Auburn fan, and he went to hear you speak a couple of weeks ago at an Auburn club in Birmingham, and he said, Doug, you got to get Coach Clinard on, because not just to talk golf. He goes, this guy had energy, this guy has enthusiasm, this guy has great insight into things other than golf. So, Coach, you're touching the Auburn faithful, and hopefully this will touch some other people as this gets out there.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your kind words, and thank you for having me on, and War Eagle.
Yeah, War Eagle, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.